Now let's see if this thing works. Okay, I need to test this and see if anybody can hear me since seem to be live right now. Hopefully we're getting some sound. There's going to be a lot of mucking around. Make sure that the microphone is running. Seems like it's working okay. So testing, 1, 2, 3, anybody there? That's my first priority here. If you can hear me, say you're online. Okay, perfect. Perfect sound, excellent. Now let's see if I can show Astro Pixel Processor. Again, this is just a test. Excuse me, there's no Pix Insight lesson per se. But since we're here, we could probably fire something up here in Pixel Processor. I mean, why not? We're already here. Okay, so even though this is just a test, I'm going to do a 30-minute test. I'm going to change the directory here. If you have any questions, I might be able to answer, but technically I can't see what's going on from here, from my laptop. So that's why there's always somebody watching the chat and asking me if there's questions, but you need 2 people to do that. I would need another partner who would have their computer running, and then we can cooperate in between both. So let me see here if we can just try something. I'm going to choose the YouTube video directory for PixInsight. And okay, so this is a test. I'm testing on the air, Hangouts, Google+. And if you have any questions, just hold them back, because if this works out good and we have enough people that are watching and commenting, then this may become a regular, Friday night live broadcast on a regular basis, so everybody will know that it's always on from 7 to 8 on Fridays. And then I can go through some different subjects if you want. So kind of have to put that to a vote. So okay, Greg says he just got the Gmail notification that I'm on. Yes, and so I think some people must have got it a bit earlier. As you noticed before, we were having a few people were already on standby. Sammy was here. He was probably the first one here. So, all right, we're going to get started, but I'm just going to go slow. And hey, Peter and Pavel, looks and sounds great. That is the most important thing I wanted to do. Okay, so it's not a video. It's not a training session. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Again, I'm concentrating on two different laptops at the same time. So if I miss you, I'm sorry. I'll glance at the chat once in a while, but from here I can't see it because I'm on 2 different. I have to act as both the watcher and the person who's broadcasting. Okay, so it's just a test. So let's have some fun. So how about we continue? For those who watched part 1, LRGB precombine, part 2. Precombine, and LRGB 3 full combination. Okay, Peter Clark, where are you geographically? Are you US, Canada, or are you in the East, in the UK? Just wondering what the streaming is like here at large distances. I'll wait for Peter to answer that question. Okay, so we're going to do combine RGB. So I'll keep chatting with you guys when I see it. And we'll walk through this. This is just an experiment. I'm going to stay on only for about 30 minutes, and then we'll close it off. And England, excellent. That's what I want to know. Perfect. Okay, so if you guys watched 1, 2, 3 PixInsight's LRGB combination, let's say we do it. Let's say you have Astro Pixel Processor, and you'd like to say, well, I don't use PixInsight. I can't afford it. But I do have Astro Pixel Processor from Malbula, Havercamp. But I'd like to try it there. Like I'd like to assemble my luminance and my RGB. So how do we do that? Well, okay, I'm going to cancel this again. You see here where it says tools? Since we're not loading any files, because we're not doing lights, flats, darks, and bias. So we'll go to the tab number 9, and we go to the second last tab from the bottom. Combine RGB. Welcome, Richard from England. So we're going to want to add all our 4 files, L, R, G, and B. So we'll go to add, okay, and we're going to find our luminance. So, and these files at first should be registered, all aligned. Otherwise, they won't line up. And maybe that would be for another video, but that's fine. So we're going to find our luminance, open. Now, it says, please provide a short description of channel 1, Lume fits, and assign a filter name if needed. So we've assigned it luminance, but it's already called Lume, and the custom is down here on luminance, and say OK. So right away, we have the luminance channel right here and all its sliders. Let's add another one of the filters. Let's go to the red filter here. Open. So it knows it's RGBR. So that has to be assigned to red channel. OK. And let's go add another color filter. G. Open. Custom green, because it says G up here. OK. And finally, B for RGB. Blue. And OK. Now here comes the fun part. So we have all our channels. Luminance. I'm going to have to close Hangouts here. Because it's coming in. Other people are coming onto my computer while I'm live. So luminance, red channel, green channel, blue channel. Okay, so what we can do at the beginning, again, this is just an experimental live video, but let's have fun with it while we're here. Might as well make something of it. There's a calculate button up here. And what it's going to do is it's going to calculate the values of RGB, which is set at 1 or 1 times its value. We're not going to increase it right now. So red is at 1, green is at 1, see the X times 1.000, and blue is at 1. Now let's go back to red. Under the RGB red, notice it says there R red, it's 100%. So we're going to put 100% worth of red in the red channel, 100% of green in the green channel, and let's scroll down a bit, and 100% of blue. And we're going to leave luminance all default. In fact, this is all default. Let's hit calculate and see if hopefully my files have been aligned, because if they're not aligned, they'll be all crooked. And hopefully you'll see what happens in a minute. Now I notice from my broadcast, there's about 10-second, maybe 15-second delay. That's fine. And there it is, M81 in its full glory. Now, that is overkill because the stretch, in PixInsight, there's STF. So if you go over to the right here, there's no stretch data as is. You'll see that come up on your screen in a moment. Okay, so we have to go at least the lowest stretch, 10%, 5 sigma, 2.5. That should bring up a little bit of it. There it is right here. Okay. Now that the luminance channel, to me, and of course I don't do this a lot, but the luminance channel is overpowering the color as far as I know right now. I'm just going to click neutralize background, give it a few seconds. Okay. And what if we take the luminance slider, which says 100%? There's 2 ways to do it. There's this one and the multiplier, but let's just drag lume to about 50%. Recalculate. Let's just see if it comes down a little bit. A little bit. Okay. Let me hit the saturation. I just clicked on saturation here for a moment. Okay. Now, last time I tested this image was not so bright. It's possible that I've dealt with these images. These LRGBs may not be original, and I believe that's why the galaxy is so bright. So I'm glad this is just a test. But if you want to drop this down a little bit, you could probably use this mid-range. Just drop it down to 95 or 92 or 90. Just experimental. We're just having fun. I think these frames have been played with. Okay, let's drop down some more. 72. Now we're getting somewhere. Even some more. Take note that if this was your LRGB that just came off the camera, I wouldn't have to deal with so much white just being burned out. But I'm actually trying to do the best I can with data that's already been completely played with in PixInsight. So not the best idea, but I'm actually just checking out the chat. Plus, it's kind of a little lesson in Astro Pixel Processor anyways. So as you notice here, it's getting much better. We were able to darken the background a little bit. Can we bring up the luminance back up? Hey, Dave, how are you? So bring up the luminance back to 100% and re-click calculate. Now, it might burn it out. I'm sorry, it won't burn it out. It'll probably wash out the picture because I think these channels have been, they've been dealt with already. So don't really like how that's turning out. But again, it's just a test. Can we darken it some more? Let's try it. Let's take mid-range, slide it down. Basically, it's the same as histogram in PixInsight transformation. So there, that's much better. Much better. A little bit more. Don't want to burn out anything. There we go. Now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to we can scroll in a bit if we want. There we go. I'm going to use a sharpen tool. Again, I haven't experimented with this that much, but we're here. Let's try it. When I do an actual lesson, and this is just a on-air live broadcast, we can do it. Okay, so sharpen. Oh, that worked a little bit. There we go. Saturate. I have 015. I believe if you go left, let's go to 5. I think if you go 5, it either adds color or removes it. It's kind of strange. If you should go right to add color, not left. But let's see what happens. Well, not much change. But there's 2 saturations. There's this one here. So let's go at 25. Let's try 20. Hi, Steve. The question is from Steve. Did you take the image or using someone else's data? This galaxy belongs to Tim McCollum from Georgia, United States, and it was taken with a William Optics 132 FLT at f7. And along with that, it used a Hypercam 183 mono plus RGB, one-shot color, and I combined both color and RGB. So that's that answer on that. Hey, Robert Potter, welcome. Nice to see you here. So let's go a little bit more. We added a bit of color, 31. Let's see if we can saturate that more. I went to 5. I was at 15. Let's go to 20. Remember, we're all learning here. It's just, it's not a complicated program. Probably one of the simplest for combination. But you need to practice what certain colors do. What certain some of the sliders, you have to learn how they work. Okay. And what else can we do here? We have highlights, and we have also contrast. Let's crank the contrast. We're at 0, 0, 0. Let's go to 1, 0, 1. Let's see if that does anything at all. Okay, I just noticed something. Because I'm new to this, I believe that because I'm working on the right-hand side with combined LRGB, you have to hit create image and then bring it back. So why don't we do that? Let's just go create. Again, I'm learning. Here I'm working on the right-hand side, but it's not affecting the image because I didn't realize that it was combined. If you're happy with how much luminance and RGBs are, you can hit create, and here it is right here. So I'm going to put right in front of this M81 underscore combine RGB. Okay. All right. So now we can close this or cancel, and we should be able to go to load, and the file should be down here. And here it is. M81 combined RGB image dot fits. Perfect. Let's have a look and see how big it is. If I scroll all the way over, 160 meg. So if you want to access and put it here in the window, you need to double click it. So come down here, double click. That should bring it up to the main window. Hopefully all these numbers will reset automatically. There it is. Whoa, that is nice and bright. Now from here, we can make some changes. In other words, adjust all of this. The first thing I notice is kind of bright. So we're going to use midpoint or G and just drop it down a bit, back to 82. Let's see if that brings our background up a bit. Hopefully. Okay. Going to drop back down to as is just for a moment. I think as is makes it really bright. Okay, that's not too bad. That's very nice. Okay, so let's go see what else we can play with. We have sharpen at 3, contrast at 01, saturate. Okay, let's try this again. Let's we're at 20 on saturate. Let's try 0. Oh, hold on a second. Just a moment here. Neutralize background. Now, for some reason, these, oh, I'm sorry. You have to select 10% if you want DPP, auto, and saturation to come up. Otherwise, you're not making any changes. That's better. That's better. Much better. I wish the data was raw, guys, because if the data was raw, you could see some nice results here. But I went and used images that have been dealt with, and you should not do that. But it's just for fun. And I just wanted to try 30 minutes of live broadcasts. We got 14 minutes left. Oh, much better, much better, much better. Okay, let's see if we can desaturate from 20 down to nothing. Let's see if it makes it more colorful, less colorful. Just what we can all learn. I'll keep an eye on that. Okay, not much change. Not much change. Let's see what else we can do. So that was saturate to 0. Bring it back up to 20. Okay, give it a minute. All right. Okay, so all in all, this isn't too bad for now. As I learn more about how to process it in here, that'll be fine. Let's come back to this side, the left-hand side, and let's go to remove light pollution, or in PixInsight, it's a DBE or ABE. So let's see if we can remove some of the light pollution or gradients if there are any. So please wait, neutralizing background. Peter, forecast will be clear here in about 2021. No kidding. All right. So in order to use DBE, ABE / light pollution, we need to make squares. In other words, tell the program, APP, where do you think the gradients should go? So I usually go all the way around, try to stay away from the galaxy. I'm just making a bunch of squares. All the way around. Isn't this a lot of fun? So here we go. Okay. I stay away from the galaxy. And you see this blue button here, calculate. So let's hit the calculate button and see what happens. Let's see what Astro Pixel processor can remove out of the background. That could be a washout or haze, the standard gradients from light pollution, shooting over the city. Okay, it did very little, but this image is really, really pushed. So you see here we have one red square. One moment. What we want to do is remove the red. So remove red, but yellow is okay and green is best. So let's show corrected image. You could have hit calculate again. So now look at the amount of gradient removed. Lots of purple on the right, green on the left, which is what I see in all CMOS chips from Altair, Astro, ZWO, QHY. Hey, even maybe some Canon. It's part of the debayering process. So show the corrected image, even though it's washed out, and that should bring it back. Give it a moment. Okay, so basically anything here under a normal image, and this is not normal, it's been stretched, we should be good. So okay, and save the image. It's going to call it LPC CBG, and the CBG is background corrected. So I'm going to say okay, and it fits. Put it down there. Let's put it down there. Now, if you were to work on this again, for example, calibrate background, you need to choose the one you just worked on. See down here? LPC CBG.fits. Right, so double click that one and bring it up here. This is important. Most people forget they keep working on it, but it's created a second file. In fact, every change from vignette, light pollution, background, and color calibration, that you'd have 4 brand new files. You need to go down and find them and bring them back up. All right, what's our next step? Again, this is experimental. This is not, we're not trying to do anything with this image. I'm just walking through APP, and I probably will do this as a full-fledged video. Let's calibrate background. Yes, all these steps actually apply to in real time. So let's make the background, let's adjust it. So we're going to zoom in, move it over, no stars, go down, no stars. Again, always choose a section with no stars. Basically, you're copying dynamic background extraction of PixInsight, DBE. You select it selects them automatically, but here you have a choice of selecting them yourself. And you can do that in PixInsight. You can just add your own. I'm not going to favor one program over another. I'm going to talk about both. They're both tools, and I think they complement each other. There's not who's better or who's worse. It doesn't even work that way. Okay, scale to fit. We've chosen quite a few backgrounds. Let's hit calibrate. Voila. Give it a second. And that should neutralize our background like we do in background neutralization. And there's not much to see because this image is stretched to death from another program. So we'll hit OK and save. And this one is going to be called again LPCC background. It's actually calibrated twice, but that's okay. I'm going to remove some of these letters and just go with the letter. We're on the 3rd step, so I'll call this one 3. Actually, we're on the 2nd step, 2. Save as it fits. And it should show up down here. And here it is, image number 2. Double click, bring it back to the top again. Give it a second. Great. I don't know if anything that I do on this side is actually going to affect the image. I just want to try it for a moment. It may or may not. I'm not sure if you can work on both sides at the same time. I just want to see if it's going to darken the image a bit. Sure, it did. Let's do it a bit more. Let's go down to like 55 or 59. Should be much better. So what's step 3? We did remove light pollution, RLP. Then we did calibrate background, CBG. Now we're going to calibrate star color. Let's click on it. Are you sure you want to? Well, yes, I do. Normally, it's going to ask for one big box. But I like to do many boxes around a group of stars. Let's have a look. Here. Here. Choose some big stars. Pick some yellow ones. Pick some white ones. Choose some nice groups of stars so that APP can calculate the values of those stars. Again, this image should not have been processed ahead of time. It should be raw. It's not, but we make use of it. So hit the calculate and see if we can adjust. Let's see if we can make the color calibration on the stars using adaptive black body and extinction. There's lots of things that can be read in the PDF if you want to, play with the star rejection, kappa values. You can do that. This is the absolute basics again for APP. When I do this properly, we'll actually using raw data. This will be really nice. But I just want to do this video. Okay, just a few minutes left. So looks good. Let's just say okay. By the way, these blue stars, we have a few yellow ones. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yellow stars. The rest are blue. Great. Okay, save. And this one has CSC, or if we want, we can just go back and call it layer number 3 or change number 3, which should be star adjustment. Again, this would be like photometric in PixInsight. Okay, let's drop it back to 50 one more time. That should darken it a bit so you guys can see something and not a washed out image. Okay, give it a few seconds. Okay, nobody has any questions. And that's good. It's hard to work plus answer a bunch of questions. So I'm glad everybody's just watching for now. I think it's my second broadcast. The first one was horrible because it was just live viewing of me talking, sitting, in front of the computer, and it was just called, blah, blah, blah. My thoughts on everything and anything. It was just a big rant for about 2 hours. So this is more practical. Though I am going to have some live broadcasting, we're going to talk about the 4 different noises the cameras that we have to deal with as astrophotographers. For example, we're all accustomed to read noise coming off the camera itself. Then there's temperature noises that affects the image, like DSLRs can get red hot. Mine would go up to 36 degrees. There's shot noise, which is the background of where you live in the middle of the city or in the country. How photons hit the sensor at different speeds, at different time, different amount. So all these noises, we need to deal with these noises. And then there's the noise that when you combine all the image together and you bring it into a processing software, there's some noise, the residual noise that we need to deal with. And there's sometimes a combination of all 4 of those noises. So perhaps a short video on that. I take it that you follow top to bottom with the processing on the left. Yes, you can, in fact, or skip the ones that are not needed. For example, this is pretty good. If I go to batch modify, which would be the first one, let's say yes. And what I would do here is I would crop out. Let's do it now. It's a good question there. Let's crop from here to here. That would be my step number 1. Scroll down, say OK crop. So that would crop it. And of course, it's going to give it a name, and that'll be cropped. Okay, back to scale. So 1, batch, rotate, and resize. If you want, you can click on that. All it's going to do is rotate 90 degrees, 180 degrees. That's fine. Correct vignette. I have not mastered that at all. So my flats, your flats, our flats should be usually pretty good. All the dark ridges are usually gone. It's not made to remove motes, but it is a vignette corrector. Once I learn it, I'll show it. Then you guys have already you've seen me do light pollution. It works really good with real light pollution at the bottom here, wherever you're shooting over, or in the city. Great DBE, ABE. Then you saw me do calibrate background. We want the background to be neutral. You saw me calibrate stars. On a normal image, the stars would be beautiful white and yellow, not these strange colors. And earlier we did it combine RGB. So yeah, you can follow these steps as the image needs it. Okay, so for all intents and purpose, I'll bring that back up now. And I'll double click on mod. What was the mod? The crop. That should show up. Okay, here we go again. Let me go to, if I say no data stretch, it'll probably wash it completely out. No, he brought it down a bit. Okay. So at this point, once you're done with the left, talking about Peter Clark here for a moment, once you're done with the 3 steps of left, I believe you can go to the right now and do all your color adjustments, saturation, sharpness, contrast. You can set these settings. You can stretch this so much. This is literally a screen transfer function of PixInsight to its maximum value just to see what's hiding in the back. I'm not going to do it, but that's what you would do. So from here, on scale, I believe you can save this as is. Let's try it. Save. I'm just going to call this one. I'm just going to take all this out of here. Delete. M81 test. I'm going to say OK, but this time I'm going to change it to a TIFF. I don't want it to be a FITS. And it's going to ask me, what do you want? I put Adobe RGB 1998, but more than likely sRGB version 2 or even 4 is probably better. So okay, that, make it 16-bit, say okay, that should run. And then let's go see if we can find that file. Take a few seconds. not so much as an arm and a leg, but maybe just the arm sort of price. Yeah, it's not $350. It's probably closer to $70. All right, let's bring up Windows. Hopefully I know where I'm going. Otherwise, it's going to be tough. Should be in here somewhere. Okay, so here's what we just created. M81 test. Let's see if we can open it up in OpenView. Okay. Just give that a second there. You guys will see that in a moment. There seems to be a little bit of a delay between my double clicking and what I'm saying. So there it is. There it is. So that would be our final issue, or our final product. I'm just going to go zoom, 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 zoom. So there's lots of nice red here. Hydrogen alpha could be brought out later on. And normally, just hit the F on there. There. Normally, I would finish up with this, and I would bring that into PixInsight. And from there, we would do bringing out the core of the lanes, calming down the center so it's not burned out too white, bring out some more detail on the outer edges, then color saturate, probably do some star reduction a little bit. So they're a little bit bright, but there's also some halos. I'm not sure where they're from. So that's it. We have completed a 37-minute live broadcast test. So I'm going to... Peter, seems the learning curve seems a lot less steep compared to PixInsight. You know what? If you put LRGB in here and just run through the 8 steps, you're done in 15, 20 minutes. In PixInsight's about 2.5 hours. I know I'm not picking on PixInsight, but it is a lot of work per se. So if I'll try to do another video with unprocessed data. You'll see me do almost the same steps as this. I'll post that online. This was just a test. I appreciate all 17 of you showing up and listening in. I want to see if the quality of the video is okay as you're viewing it. Also want to know if the voice was clear enough to to see and understand. I've got another laptop here, and it's okay. It doesn't seem to be maybe as sharp as the Astro imaging channel with Adam, with TAIC. Yeah. They seem to have a lot better resolution, but I'm shooting the best I can. Now, I don't know if there was an adjustment in resolution. There might have been, but it is what it is. Oh, thank you very much. Trust a Southerner to brag. Hey, I'm not me. Oh, if that's towards me, I'm Canadian. So maybe maybe it's someone else you're referring to. It doesn't matter. It could be me. Star Tools Astro Pixel Processor beginner users. Clear skies here in Dorset. Dorset, probably the UK. I don't think that's around here. I could be wrong. David, yeah, I think David and these two guys know each other from the UK. Okay, good. So that's it. I'm done, guys. If I minimize this, you'll probably see my screen go crazy with Hangouts sharing. So this is probably what you see sometimes Alex McConaughey and Adam do on theirs when they're broadcasting. But I'm done. Thanks. Thank you. You'll see that should show up shortly. There we go. So I'm going to stop the broadcast. By the way, this automatically saves this file to YouTube. I may or may not put it back on. It was fun, but it wasn't an actual processing tutorial because there's way too many mistakes, and it's just the way it is. So I'm going to stop the broadcast, but I think you guys can still chat for a little bit. Thank you very much for watching. I think this was a success, and if there's enough votes, this may be a permanent Friday night, 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, an hour and a half for whatever subject. Okay. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the chat for a bit. All right. Take care. See you the next time up. Hopefully what's the word? The invitations will hopefully they'll go out to everyone so they can all come over and listen in and chat amongst each other and ask questions. Excellent. Bye for now.